play up top of just like how I think how I see the game going, in my opinion. So the reason I picked Cat's points because I honestly don't think they have a defensive matchup for Cat. The Cat's a 7-footer, and they're gonna have Gobert, who's fucking, I don't even know how tall he is, but he's tall as fuck. I think he's like 7'3", and their two centers are 6'10", and they're not gonna run Gafford and Lively together on the same floor, so he's gonna have a mismatch of at least 5 inches. I think the next tallest person that can probably have a chance of guarding him is PJ Washington, is 6'7". So I feel like Cat's just gonna be in a good matchup. So I'm taking his points. I'm laddering his points. Nas Reed I already spoke on. Derek Jones Jr. I also like his stocks. I was talking to Sook about it earlier. But I couldn't put for the parlay. I couldn't take the over 1.5 steals and blocks. So I just went with a block. Connolly, I like his assists mainly for the fact, like I said, I think he's just going to cherry pick to Gobert and Cat. So I feel like in the end, like Cat's going to have a lot of like pull up from like the middies and stuff like that. I really like Cat's matchup today. And then I went with Kyrie because I like Kyrie's points because mainly I took his PRA in the thing. But I like Kyrie today because I feel like McDaniels is going to spend primarily all his time on Luka. So I feel like Kyrie is just going to be more involved, and Luka's probably going to be more of a facilitator. So I like Luka's assists as well. And then I also like Derek Lively's props. I feel like he's going to be the center that's played more, just because of I feel like he's just a better built center for this series. Like last time I was on Gafford, this time I think Lively's just the better center. So I would lean more towards his PR than Gafford props. And then for the WNBA, I'm trying to consistently do a WNBA prop. Get my feet wet. I like Kelsey Mitchell's points from the Fever. And that's pretty much all I have on that end. And yeah, I just wanted to hear like people's thoughts on who McDaniels is going to be on, because I feel like that's going to be like a big like key factor in this series, because whoever you put McDaniels on is going to be in hell. So I would assume it's Luka, and I would assume that they're not going to switch it either, because Luka's he's not that fast to begin with, and he's hobbled. So I feel like he's going to not be quick coming around those screens. So I don't think McDaniels is going to switch from screen. I think he's just going to fight through every screen and stay on Luka the whole game. So, I mean, that's my thinking of it. Like, it's Luka. He could do what he wants pretty much, but I think Jaden McDaniels is going to be the main featured player on Luka. So that's why I'm on Kyrie's points. Yeah. And then I took, like, Kyrie's max points and Cat's max points just because it was, like, plus, like, 200. Like, it was, like, 200 to 1. With their max points in 3, so I figured why not, just in case they both max out. Like if I read the game perfectly, so I went with that as well.
Good shit, dude. A couple comments from me on a couple of things you mentioned. So Luka, I don't think the McDaniels matchup to me is scary. He had 33, 39, and 34 in the last 3 matchups against the Timberwolves. It's Luka. So I get Jaden McDaniels is a good defender, one of the better ones in the NBA, but it's Luka who's one of the best scorers in the NBA, and I think I'm going to side with Luka here. I like the 28.5 points. I'm going to just go ahead and lock it in. I've been convinced. I'm taking it. It's low enough. I think that I'm going to go with 28.5. Probably going to ladder this to 30. It's probably just, for a little plus money, but 28.5 points, official 1 unit play for me, probably going to end up being 2 units on that. I also really like his triple-double. You mentioned the assist, which I like what you said about that. His assist line his triple-double is really high in comparison to what it normally is. Plus 450 is what I'm seeing right now. That is incredibly high for Luka Doncic, and if he plays 35 to 40 minutes in this game, which is very possible, that could happen, and we're not going to see that high of a number again. It's just a little dust, but I really like Luka. And Cat, man. Cat cooks against the Mavericks. Cooks. So I don't fault you there whatsoever. I like that play a lot. I liked his threes, too, when I was looking at that. He has really good numbers against the Mavericks in the regular season in his last matchups, but his points is a good look too if you want to go that direction like you mentioned. So all good stuff all around. Really dig what you had to say about all of that. Chef, V, do you guys have any thoughts on any of that stuff, or do you want to keep rocking and rolling?
Yeah, Ma, I know you had shot me a DM. I hadn't gotten a chance to reply to you yet. But I do think Luka will be the one that pulls the Jaden McDaniels matchup, just because like Anthony Edwards could pull that matchup as well, but they want Anthony Edwards focused on the offensive side of the ball as well. He's been a great defender. I think he even said it. He's like Kyrie when he was asked about Kyrie and Luka. He's like, Kyrie is mine now. I got to defend Kyrie. He's my matchup in the next series. But I think that's what we see. We're going to see Anthony Edwards on Kyrie. We're going to see a lot of Jaden McDaniels trying his best against Luka. But the thing is Luka's volume has been there. I love that with the point that SPJ brought up too. He has hit this line in 3 straight versus the Wolves. But in his last game, he shot 11 of 20, 12 of 26, 46%. Not bad, not great, but the volume will be there. I think that tonight's game is going to be a high-scoring affair too. One of the trends that I wanted to talk about too, I'll just bring it up right here one sec, is that, here we go, sorry. So of the last 10 conference finals, the last 5 years, game ones have gone over 87% of the games. There have been, I think it's 31 games. Sorry. 7 of the last 8 conference final game ones have gone over the total, producing about 232 points per game. We saw the same thing with the Celtics and Pacers last night. It's a high-scoring affair. This is the best of the best. We're going to get a great game tonight, and I think Anthony Edwards and the Mavericks kind of come out flying. We're seeing a short spread here at 4.5, and that's a key number too. It's a number that home favorites don't cover a lot historically in the playoffs, in the conference finals. I love this play. I love this game today. I have so much to say about it. I don't want to say too much, but I will say that I think it's going to be Jaden McDaniels that gets the bulk of the Luka duty in this one.
Sook just texted us and said to also not forget that Jaden McDaniels does have a propensity to foul a lot. He can definitely get into foul trouble, and Luka is one of the best foul drawers in the NBA. I mean, he's not a foul merchant, I would say, kind of like what SGA and Joel are, but he definitely is able to get to the line pretty consistently. And if that matchup does happen, then I can see that being the case. V, real quick before we get some more people, since you're in this zone, I really want to take the Mavericks plus 4.5, like real bad. I think that that's the move that I'm leaning this direction here. I know that I might just let it pass and just take Luka, but what do you think on the side here? You kind of leaning Mavs as well?
I am leaning with the Mavs, and for the sole reason, they're just more rested. The Wolves are coming off an emotional Game 7 win against the Nuggets, in which they overcame a 20-point deficit in the second half. Kind of like we saw Anthony Edwards, he shot 6 of 24. Not the best. I just think that this team is still young. They're still vulnerable.